It's the Brian Lehrer Show on WNYC. I'm Bridget Bergen, filling in for Brian today. Before the ink dried on the Declaration of Independence, our nation's founders were racing to spread the word of our sovereignty. The document was rushed to the print shop of John Dunlop, who printed roughly 200 copies overnight. The news was then circulated across the 13 former colonies and beyond, spreading through newspapers, letters, and broadsides. Large and single-sheet printings made to be posted on trees and buildings and to be read in town halls, places of worship, and other community hubs. This coming Saturday is the 250th anniversary of the Declaration's adoption, and the New York Historical is marking the occasion by unveiling a rare unsigned broadside of the text. The copy has been in the Historical's collection since at least 1949, but new research and examination by their library staff has shed new light on its origins. It's on display in the New York Historical's Tang Wing for American Democracy through July 5th. Joining us now to discuss the exhibit are Louise Mirrer, President and CEO of the New York Historical, and Nina Nazionale, the New York Historical's Director of Library, Curatorial Affairs, and Research. Louise and Nina, welcome to WNYC.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This unattributed broadside of the Declaration of Independence is a central part of the New York Historical's celebration of our country's 250th anniversary. Louise, can you explain why this particular copy of the Declaration is so important to our understanding of the nation's founding?
Well, the Declaration, as you said, has been in our collection for a very long time, but thanks to a big cataloging project that we did in 2006, we came to know it in a different way and began to think that it would be a very interesting platform for some research into the fact that it had not been signed. Very unusual for a printer to not place their name on a Declaration of Independence. And the importance of the document is really as an example. If you come to the New York Historical and see it, you can tell that it was meant to be held in someone's hand, read aloud. It really underscores the fact that the reading of the Declaration was a collective act. It was an act of collective enterprise, collective spirit, and collective will against permanently separating from the British.
Nina, you led the Historical's search for the printer of this broadside. Can you walk us through that research?
It went in many different directions, but finally what I landed on was a typographical variation, which if you look at the one that is on display without the indication of who printed it, you'll notice that the word secretary after Charles Thomson's name is abbreviated, even though there's plenty of space to include the entire word secretary. So I ended up looking at printers' work from the time, both broadsides and newspapers, and landed on Samuel Loden, who was a New York printer. He was in Manhattan until the end of August when he moved to Fishkill. And he uses that abbreviation, which is SEC apostrophe RY for secretary, in almost all the broadsides he printed. And when he printed the Declaration in his own newspaper, the New York Packet, he also used that abbreviation.
Oh, interesting. Is it, in addition to those typographical clues, is that part of what, makes him a historical figure that sort of helps make the case for him as the originator, or are there other indications that you picked up on?
Well, there also are a few other typographical variations, and that was quite common. As you said, the Dunlop printings are the first ones, Philadelphia, July 4th through the 5th. But as more and more printers started producing these broadsides and republishing the content in newspapers, they were working very quickly. and it was all done by hand. And so you'll see differences in capitalization, punctuation. Um, and it's really a reminder of how many people were involved in getting the word out about the Declaration of Independence. And so after Philadelphia, New York printers went to work. Then people in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and each printing in July of 1776 is slightly different
Hmm.
than the others.
Oh, how interesting. Listeners, do you have questions for our guests about the New York Historical's work, the effort to spread the news of U.S. independence in 1776 after the Declaration signing, or what goes into verifying a historical document? If you can call us quickly, we can get you on. The number's 212-433-WNYC. That's 212-433-9692. Nina, would printers themselves be putting themselves in danger by printing this document? Was it considered treasonous at the time that it was printed?
Yes, I mean, I don't know if people were walking around saying, be careful, we're committing treason, but it was treason. But I also think that printers were used to printing all kinds of materials. They were business people. They were also designers of the way it would look, text on paper. Um, so I think they were just part of the swell of excitement and urgency to get this information out there. It was a momentous occasion.
The founders signed the Declaration of Independence in 1776, but the Revolutionary War didn't officially end until later than that. Louise or Nina, what would the news of the document signing have meant to most Americans during the war's early stages?
Well, it meant a lot. It certainly, in the case of New York, George Washington's reading of the Declaration to his troops motivated a groundswell of activity, including a rush to Bowling Green to pull down a statue of King George III, who that had been erected only 6 years earlier by those who recognized how important New York was to the swelling British Empire at the time. So the fact that there was this rush to take down a symbol of British authority in New York City, and an incredible act of destruction of this symbol, it really presages how the revolution would unfold with a continuous effort at momentum, at doing the same kind of activity as the reading of the Declaration had been, to continuously encourage, which was absolutely necessary. I mean, you have to keep in mind that the colonial army was facing really one of the most sophisticated and well-trained and well-equipped armies, if not the most, in the world at the time. So there was a continuous need to rouse the troops, and that was done through the works of printers, and certainly through the works of many like Thomas Paine, who inspired people to eventual victory.
We're getting close to the end of this segment, but I'm going to sneak Jim from Brick Township, New Jersey in. Jim, you've got about 30 seconds.
Oh, great. Yeah, only in the last year I learned that Jefferson had put in language that was less sympathetic to slavery, but he was forced to edit it out by Southern states. But you could comment about that.
Great, Jim. Thanks for that comment. Do either of you is that information that either of you can confirm? Have you heard that about the drafting of the document?
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely true. We know that because we've seen the draft and the language, so that is absolutely accurate. And it's really part of the complexity of Thomas Jefferson, and understanding how someone who could write the most significant words in American history in terms of setting forth our precepts of liberty and equality, nevertheless was an owner of 600 enslaved people at least throughout his lifetime, could also have wanted in that very same declaration to have made such a strong statement opposing slavery. So that, just really enriches the story of the complexities around our origins as a democracy and the long struggle we've had to realize those principles.
In our last 15 seconds or so, Louise, this copy of the broadside has been on display since June 18th. How have people been reacting to it?
People are they're quite dazzled by a new discovery all the time, and especially one as important as this. And they've been quite thrilled. They've also been thrilled to see another document in our collection that's been on view, and that is fondly known as the Declaration of Dependence, in which some 500-something New Yorkers announced their total disgust at the idea of separating from Britain. So they're nice companions, and it's great to have them on view.
Well, we're going to have to leave it for today. The New York Historical's mysterious broadside of the Declaration of Independence will be on display in their brand new Tang Wing for American Democracy through Sunday, July 5th. The Historical will also celebrate the opening of the new wing with musical programming on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You can learn more at newyorkhistory.org. It's a nice, cool place. Be a good place to check out during the heat wave. Louise Mirrer is the president and CEO of New York Historical, and Nina Nazionale is the New York Historical's director of library, curatorial affairs, and research. Thank you both so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
WNYC's journalism and storytelling is heard by millions of passionate listeners. Sponsors of our programming gain our listeners' attention and their respect. Learn about how your organization can support WNYC and WNYC Studios at sponsorship.wnyc.org.